As a gamer, there is an unspoken rule you need to follow. You must love Zelda, or at least pretend to. I can't really say I'm a fan of the series since I've only ever finished these two. I'm an action fan, and unless Link suddenly pulled out a Glock and shot Ganon in the face, I thought I would never be able to see the charm. But I'm glad to inform you, I was wrong. I came to this game expecting to play Baby Zelda. Instead, I got slapped in the face with a metaphorical chancla and turned into a Zelda fan, now willing to play anything that has the franchise's name on it. Okay, maybe not anything. I asked around for ideas for my next video, and several people told me to play the original game. So I proceeded to play the way Miyamoto intended, by banging my head against a wall until something worked. Spoilers for a game released in the 80s, if that triggers you, I don't know what to tell you, you had your chance. I started off in the middle of nowhere because the game never told me what was going on. To make a long story short, Hyrule, the kingdom you are in, went to hell, probably due to NFTs. Ganon, the baddie, came to steal the Triforce, and Zelda, the princess, split it into parts. Her maid asks for help, so off you go. Anywho, my objective is clear. Ish. And right in front of me was a cave with an old man who offered me a sword. Don't you tell me what to do. It sucks and barely works, but it will have to do. Okay, now I have the power of God and anime on my side. What now? The game plays the sickest music you've ever heard in a loop. But I had no idea where to go, so I just picked a random direction and started to walk. I have the platinum trophy for Bloodborne, I have nothing to fear, I thought. Oh, you stupid, naive I found these things, which would be the first enemies of the game, and introduced me to the insanely simple combat system. You're either attacking or not attacking, but when your health is full, you shoot out this kind of laser sword which is so fun to use. Pew pew pew! Sadly, the second you are hit you lose it, and my garbage sword has garbage range, but that's all I had, so it was necessary. It wouldn't take me long until I discovered leaving the starting area might not have been the best decision. Do you want to be my friends? Turns out, the game was an IQ test, and spoiler warning, I got a -60. I spent so much time dying in the wilds, and still had no idea where I had to go. It was very frustrating, and I didn't have the patience or the mental capacity to make a map. But no! I am a devout Christian elf thing. God will show me the way. Thank you, my lord. Yes, it was God's will that I use guides to find my path. I read the guide for a bit to get an idea of where to go, as well as extra hearts and a better sword. Which, I mean, it's cool and all, but how the hell were you supposed to find this without a guide? I know secrets are supposed to be hard to find, but planting a bomb on a very specific wall that looks like every other, are you high? Once I was properly equipped, I finally entered my first dungeon, which was just a few screens above the starting area. Unlike future Zelda games, there is not a lot of puzzling to do here. Just a few new enemies and a dopey dragon that was almost too much of a dork to kill. Almost. But the Holy Grail was behind it, so he had to feel the wrath of God. Ooh, a Dorito! Yum! The dungeon was over just like that. Once I was out, I realized this was basically the game. Explore the world, beat a dungeon, and repeat. Which, all things considered, not bad. Maybe a bit repetitive, but the enemies kept changing and dungeons had a few surprises, which kept the experience fresh. So rather than dread doing the same things again, it felt as if my adventure had just begun. Second dungeon might as well have been the tutorial. The dungeon was nothing, and I blasted through it at record speed. I also found this old guy just chilling in the middle of it. Oh no, he's gone senile. Don't worry, Grandpa, I'll release you from your misery. It actually would serve as a nice tutorial. The layout is perfect for crowd control, which I would desperately need later on. After that experience, I began to think I might have overestimated the game's difficulty. But that's when Dungeon 3 appeared. In theory, it was just more of the same. But there were these nights that became the first bane of my existence. They couldn't be hit from the front, so I had to find another way, mainly their backs. I died. A lot. I was angry, but I knew it was my own fault for being stupid. So I took a break, got a nicer shield, failed again, and wondered, what would Jesus do? Thanks, Jesus. Okay, I won't lie, things got a little bit dicey, might have been a bit overconfident, but you know what? I survived, and I think the worst is past me. I had no idea what was coming. If I thought that was bad, I wasn't ready for the ass-kicking that was coming my way in Dungeon 4. This had to be one of the dungeons where I got the most game overs. Not only did it have enough bats to fill a Pokemon region, but the boss of this dungeon was a two-headed fire-breathing dragon. It was a hard fight, but also a fitting one. After killing Dopey the dragon in the first dungeon, their big brother had come to take revenge. And you know what? I can respect that. Through trial and error, I battled the dragon. And to be fair, I deserved to lose. I just kept standing in front of it and attacking while getting burned to death. Yeah, maybe a battle of endurance was not the right tactic. Finally, one of the heads fell. Victory was at hand. When suddenly... What is this crap? The head became a ghost and can still shoot fireballs? Are you kidding me? Just when I thought I could do this, the game pulled a plot twist and of course, I died immediately. It must have taken me close to an hour to finally beat the boss, and I still have no idea how I did it. I came out of that dungeon a changed person. Keep in mind, this was just the halfway point, and I had barely survived. I thought I could beat this game without having to hunt the upgrades, but nope. This world was unforgiving, so I had to be as well. I would become a monster, to hunt monsters. And so began my training arc. Run away, sinners! God's fury has arrived on this world. There will be no mercy. The world will drown in your blood, and all heretics will f***ing die! I don't know if it was because of all my upgrades, but the 5th dungeon was no problem at all. The boss was immune to everything unless you played a song with a flute. Shh, 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 shh. Do you hear that? It's the song of your demise. Best therapy ever! Once it was over, I felt quite good with myself. I got another piece of the Triforce, let out all my anger, I was fine. I wanted to think the rest of the game would be like this, but a part of me knew it was just wishful thinking. And sure enough, Dungeon 6 would kick my ass in ways I hadn't seen before. Pain. This dungeon was pain. The fault was of these mage jerks that kept teleporting and shooting magic. Whoever I wasn't targeting would blast my butt to Kingdom Come. It would have been fine if there were just a few of them, but nope, just fill the screen with them and make the rooms dark. What? Not enough, you say? How about some living lasagnas taking away my magic shield? So, how did I conquer this 6th circle of hell? I applied the Dark Souls strategy of just ignoring the enemies to get to the boss. Which, surprise surprise, was a 3-headed fire-breathing dragon. Ugh, also a crab. Surprisingly, neither was that difficult. After this, I explored the world for a little bit to clear my head, but I just couldn't find the next dungeon. I would then pull up the guide that told me to go to this empty lake and play the flute. Okay. Why though? The entrance to the dungeon is a goddamn puzzle? Like, how are you supposed to figure this out? Oh, and that was just the start. This is what I refer to as the puzzle dungeon. As in, to progress, I had to keep bombing every wall I could find and pray one of them would let me move on. But just when I was about to get to the boss, these weird hands came out of the walls, and when they grabbed me, they didn't strangle me. No, that would have been okay. The sweet embrace of death was my bread and butter at this point. No, they would drag me back to the freaking entrance. The next room was the boss room, who was none other than Dopey the Dragon again. Is this really how you want to die? 7 dungeons done, 1 to go. The Triforce was almost complete, but I couldn't relax just yet. Last time was relatively easy, and I knew what that meant. Even more suffering. As soon as I entered the next area, I knew this was going to suck. However, surprisingly, it didn't suck. What happened then? I got good, is what happened. The dungeon was full of these guys, as well as previous bosses, and yet I did not lose even once. I was dodging attacks as if they were nothing. And even the boss, the 4-headed fire-breathing dragon, was nothing but a minor inconvenience as I finally assembled the Ultra Mega Dorito! All that was left was confronting Ganon, but this seemed too easy. Had the game suddenly become easier right at the end? No, I had just gotten stronger. Looking back on everything that had happened until now, I realized how much I had improved. I understood the attack timing of my enemies, my reflexes had improved, and I had geared myself as best as I could. Every injustice and challenge had turned me into a better player without me noticing it. All that was left for me to do was conquer the final stage. Let's go. This dungeon was easily the biggest one in the game, and it was easy to get lost. But even with hundreds of enemies and the loss of my magic shield, I was able to find my way to Ganon. There he was, the Master of Evil, with nothing between us. It was just me and him. This was it, the final battle. He started off by becoming invisible. I was blasted with magic from all directions with no way of knowing where the next one would come from. But I knew there had to be a way out of this. While I was dodging, I noticed a pattern. It wasn't perfect. Missing was very much a possibility. But it gave me a general idea of where he would be. I swung my sword and managed to strike him. Every attack I landed would force him to change his pattern. And every time they became more unpredictable. Our battle continued. I kept getting hit over and over again with his magic. My health was running low, and as such, my time as well. I could not keep this up for long. I had to finish this one way or another. I stopped trying to attack blindly, and aware of the risks involved, stood in the middle of the room. Wherever Ganon attacked, if I was fast enough, I would be able to reach him before he teleported. His magic flew to me in a barrage, and using my training, I managed to dodge it, waiting for the perfect opportunity. And there it was, just a few meters from me. I picked up my sword, and with one swift motion, I caught the King of Evil. I took my bow, grabbed a silver arrow, and fired at him. Ganon had been slain. Waiting in the other room was none other than Princess Zelda, and as we raised our Doritos in the air, I was finally filled with a sense of accomplishment. I had beaten the game. Hyrule was now safe. Oh, cool. What about the second quiz? The what? No! Are you f***ing serious, dude? I barely survived going through the game once, and now you want me to beat it a second time with extra difficulty? Oh, hell no! Guys, I love the game. I know I complained a lot, but I really love it. But I just do not have the mental strength to do this right now. If you want me to play the second quest, let me know in the comments. I could either make a stream about it or a separate video. Because I will. If you guys really want to see me lose my sanity, I'll put myself at risk. I have no dignity. I need the views. If you were expecting me to hate the game, sorry to disappoint. Sure, some aspects of it were very annoying, like having to die to save and go all the way back to the beginning, and the enemies really turned me into a monster halfway through. But this kind of old school bull was a really fun challenge. I asked my friends why they liked the franchise so much, and for the most part they said they remembered cinematic moments, making friends with the NPCs, and just enjoying the world. And I have to say, I get it. More than the actual gameplay, I wanted to keep playing because it really felt like an adventure. Exploring the world, finding secrets, coming up with strategies, taking in the music and world, and see myself growing skill over time was something else. Something that I rarely get from games. If you like adventure games, this might be up your alley, if you don't mind it being a bit hard. But that old school fun can be nice in its own way. However, if you're new to the series, you might want to start with the newer entries and just make your way back. For those of you new to the channel, my grading scale goes from 1 to 7. 1 being a piece of garbage that barely qualifies as a game, 4 being the average, and 7 being like a warm hug by your favorite VTuber. The beginning score is 4 and I either add or take away points based on big positives and negatives. So, I hereby give this game 7 dragon heads out of 7. Sure, there is no story and to progress you need to have a brain as big as Milky Way's boobs, but remember, this was released in 1986. Times have changed. Back then games just had to be games, not movies like now. You were just supposed to sit down and immediately play. Maybe just a test bots if you were lucky. It would be unfair to judge this game by modern standards. What the game tried to do was give us an adventure in a big map, tons of enemies, secrets and puzzles. And you know what? It did a very good job at that. Also more impressively, this was the first home console game to use a saving feature. So what if it needed you to get a game over or send you back to the first screen? For the time, this was damn impressive, and we need to recognize this. The Legend of Zelda is nothing less than a masterpiece. Looking back on Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, the things I remember the most were the characters, the world, and the sense of adventure I got from them. I think I was judging the series the wrong way before, like an action game that was supposed to challenge me. And now that I see it in a new light, I'm really excited to play the rest of the games. Just not Zelda's Adventure, that thing scares me. If there are any other games you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. Also, please consider subscribing, since these videos take a lot of time and effort to make, and every sub gives my soul a hug. Please consider watching some of my other videos. I've done some Storytime stuff as well as reviews, so give them a watch if you'd like. I'll be making an announcement in the following days regarding some changes to the channel, so stay updated for that as well. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye!